Hello, fellow film enthusiasts. Welcome back to the College Cinephile. It's me, Dr. Destiny. And for the first time, I'm doing the intro, so cool. Today we will be talking about the much anticipated Big Robots Little China sequel, Pacific Rim Uprising. Directed by Stephen S. DeKnight and starring John Boyega, Scott Eastwood, Jin Tae-yan, and Charlie Day, Pacific Rim 2 has a lot going on. So did it rise up to the occasion, or did it crash and burn? Let's find out. With me is special guests Nomeo and Juliet enthusiast, Ian. So, what are your thoughts?
How's it going? Well, firstly, I would like to say thanks for that wonderful intro.
Welcome.
So I was a huge fan of the first movie. Huge fan. I loved it. It's kind of how I found Guillermo del Toro. It was with that movie. And, oh man, I did not like this one at all. There were some positives. You know, there was a lot of cool things that could have been there. But I feel like they kind of copped out and quickly cut together a blockbuster instead of continuing with the kind of tone that they set in the first movie.
In all honesty, for me, I kind of got what I expected. Like by all the marketing material and the trailers, like I can already see just by the look of the film that they're not trying to recreate the first one, Catch Lightning in a Bottle. They're trying to make a big blockbuster action movie, and I could easily see, yeah, this is probably where it's gonna go. And I got what I expected.
Yeah.
Like, to me, the film was like if 90s movies had the budgets that we had today, this is a type of movie that would come out in the 90s, like, easily.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely see that, especially with a lot of the dialogue was saved for the quick, one-liners that were like just like a portrait on the camera. Someone facing the camera, almost looking into the camera, like saying, "We have to run," like things like that.
Yeah, like the scientist with a cane, they kept on going on his face, and he'd be like, "Dear God." Yeah. Like that kind of junk.
Yeah, it's just, oh man, it was just stuff like that that kind of ruined it for me. And I say ruined it in a very not vaguely, but I say it ruined it because it's probably my fault. I went into the movie expecting more than it was going to come out. But I was just not a fan of the end product.
I get you. Before we talk about the actual plot of the film, let's talk about the face of the film, John Boyega. What did you think of the star?
So, personally, I love John Boyega. He's a great actor. I really liked him, in Star Wars. And I was looking forward to his role in this because I know he can do drama. He can do kind of a range with his film Detroit. But in this, he was kind of like a cut-together character that you didn't understand why he was there. Like the entire movie, he's kind of talking about wanting to leave, and he uses he's the son of what was his?
Idris Elba's character?
Yeah, he was the son of Idris Elba's character from the first movie, but because they wrote him into this movie, he's kind of just there. And they say since Idris Elba died in the first one, spoiler, he is like, he used that and then he joined the military, but then he's acting like a brat kind of the first half of the movie. And then another thing happens and he kind of forces himself to be in the role, but not even in a way that I cared that he was there.
How you doing, Nate?
It's Ranger Lambert.
Are you having a laugh?
Well, this is a military base. You remember how that works? Ranger Pentecost. And you must be Amara Namani.
Yes, sir. Ranger, sir.
Well, let's get you squared away. Oh, and try not to steal anything while you're here.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for me, he was the action hero that this action movie needed. But my biggest gripe with him is that they gave him a lot of weird character traits. Like the one that kind of like bugged me the most.
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, is that like he would always talk about how hot he is and how sexy he is.
He said that frequently.
Yeah, and he brought it up at weird times. Like there's one time where he's talking about how hot and sexy he is to a 15-year-old girl, and it's like,
Okay.
You wouldn't do that.
At that exact moment, they were trying to use it to break tension because they had just had like a serious 4 minutes of conversation between the two of them, and he was trying to like alleviate it. He's like, whatever, blah, 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 I'm so hot.
Yeah, but
at the same
different
time, it
ways
was
you could
weird, yeah.
break tension.
It was definitely weird.
Okay, so the plot. It's definitely one of those movies where it's got a lot going on, and definitely it's got a lot more plot holes than Swiss cheese, I can tell you that. So, what would you say is your biggest gripe about the plot?
The villain.
The villain.
The biggest gripe that I had was that the villain is a human villain, which the whole entire point of the movie or series too, because this is a sequel, is that the aliens are coming and then attacking Earth from wherever they're coming from. And having a human villain seemed like a cop-out to me. And then the fact that he wasn't even flushed out, he was just kind of, oh, now he's the villain. And then they stop him. And it's cool. I was like, what?
And the way they brought about the human villain, too.
Yeah.
Like, they tried to make it a twist within a twist, but it just came off really weird, and especially the actor that plays the villain is kind of not a great choice for your main
for
villain.
a villain role. He's
a
great actor, but I wouldn't have picked him for a villain. At least not of, I don't know.
I agree with you. My biggest gripe with the plot is that this film sets up a lot of mini climactic moments throughout the thing, and like we were talking about it with your friends the other night, that like towards the middle of the movie going into the climax, they set up that this big thing happens where the human villain sets up all these portals around the Earth, then the monsters come up, and they resolve that like in 10 minutes. And then, actually 3 monsters got through. Now we need to go fight them. And it's supposed to be like a small one more action scene, then it grows into another climax. It's just, when you throw in all these extra climaxes in, it like you stop caring, basically. Like,
there's no danger if it's all like, oh, this is the last thing, and then they stop it, and they're like, oh, this is the last thing, and there's no like sense of danger.
Right.
Like, it's not. It doesn't work itself towards needing to be resolved if you know it can be resolved in 10 minutes.
Right, and then again, like how I see this as like a 90s movie, it's got a lot of like 90s characters, just characters that were like probably had their bio written up in like 5 minutes and thrown into the plot. A lot of people that you're just like, okay, you're just kind of there. I know one of your gripes is the cadets, all the kids in the movie.
That was more of Justin's. The cadets didn't have a place, and so that's where I was kind of annoyed. Like, there's the whole point, if we're going further into the movie, is that they have a group of cadets that they're training to become Jaeger pilots so that they can pilot more Jaegers and fight more monsters and prepare for more war or whatever. But through the movie, it's bouncing between the John Boyega's character, and then Scott Eastwood's character, and then the cadets, and then the main girl of the cadets, and then cutting back to like the villain, and then it's just bouncing around the entire time. It doesn't give you time to focus on anybody. And there's just a bunch of little things that I felt that weren't resolved, or that were resolved in like 2 lines when they were brought up in the beginning as like significant.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. They could have definitely been more fleshed out more, and especially like for me, like at the ending when they are like piloting all the Jaegers, I felt that they not mastered, but they got a good handling of how to handle a Jaeger pretty well, pretty quickly, when throughout the movie you never see any of them really successfully do it. You just have to assume it.
Right, like you don't see any of them actually training either. Like the one time you see the main girl and just like one of the other side characters training, and then like they can't do it, and so they fail. Right. And then now they all get their own at the very end, and they're like kicking butt and taking names, and it's just like, what? Doesn't really work as well as if they had showed them at least successfully completing the training program. That would have been enough to, okay, they can do it,
Right, and we never get that because, again, this is a superly overstuffed plot. They got so much things going on. that they're just rushing everything to get
What
to
about
the ending.
what about that weird like love triangle? I didn't even think about it till later, but like when John Boyega shows up, he's like flirting with the female pilot, and then Scott Eastwood's like, "Hey, don't," and then they're like, "Okay," like that's the it.
It never
that's
really
it.
goes anywhere.
It doesn't.
And it kind of makes, I don't know, remember the actress's name, but the girl
Yeah.
who's in the love triangle, it makes her kind of a weak character because
Right.
she just kind of like flirtatious with both of them, but
Yeah.
never really does anything.
Yeah.
And
Didn't
then
she kiss them both at one point?
Yeah.
On the cheek or something, right as they're about to go out?
Yeah.
Which is that's just her saying farewell. It's whatever, but I don't know. She was there to kiss John Boyega and Scott Eastwood. That's all I know about her character.
Yeah.
Like-
never does anything like that
I guess-
progresses the plot really.
I guess she's technically a mechanic because they grab her when some of the Jaegers get blown up and they grab her to like help repair them. But
in like 10 minutes.
yeah, there was like an attack on the shore house and all of these Jaegers get destroyed and they're like, we have to rebuild. And then the next scene, all of the Jaegers are rebuilt with the kids that helped them and then they're piloting it.
Yeah.
The pace was off for me. The pace was my main problem because it felt like if I was watching, if someone turned this on and was like, oh cool, this is this new robot anime, I'd be like, all right, I'm not really into anime, but we'll see what's up. That's how quick it was together, and then it was like, oh, problem solved. Oh, problem solved. Like, I don't know.
Definitely, and I think this would probably work as like an animated movie too, because especially with all the creatures.
Yeah.
Like in the finale, you have like the 3 monster creatures that they have to fight against.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been, if you're gonna do a big action blockbuster and make it like this huge finale, you know, it would be better if you threw in more monsters rather than just 3.
Yeah.
And so like obviously with a CGI budget, that's really hard. But you know, with anime, you can throw in as many as you want.
Right. You just have to like pencil out a few more.
Right.
Like, I totally see what you're saying on that one. What were some of your thoughts about the world building that it had? Like it was trying to connect to the first one. Do you think it connected well?
I understand that they need to have callbacks to the first one, but I felt that there was, I guess in a way, like too many to the point
Did
where
it
it
feel
takes you out of it.
forced?
Yeah. Especially for me, the beginning was kind of on because it was
Yeah.
almost like a last time on Pacific
Exactly.
Rims.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, is this a cartoon?
Yeah.
Because the very beginning, he's explaining. I understand you have to kind of brief everybody for those who didn't see the first one, but at the same time, it was exactly like a last time on Pacific Rim. Like, here's what you missed. Like, what will our heroes do now? Like, that's just where it was, and then it's just. Like,
And they didn't really like keep it, I guess, linear in terms of their world building. They try to take like a bunch of twists and turns, and it just makes it more confusing, especially in the climax when we find out, oh, this is really what the aliens were after when they sent the monsters.
Right.
Not this. So actually in the first one, they were trying to do this.
They were just
instead
messing
of
around.
this.
Like,
And it doesn't make sense because it's like, wait, if you're trying to do that, why would you do this?
Right.
And it's like, it feels like it was like a half thought up idea that they're like, that would be a cool twist. And you know, it really wasn't.
right.
So overall, like, to general audiences and maybe Pacific Rim like enthusiasts like yourself, is this a watchable movie?
I would see it again. I wouldn't pay for it for sure. I would watch it if it was on, or if someone brought it over, if I find it online. But I would give it like a 2 out of 5. I don't know how we do ratings. But
I don't think we do ratings.
do. I don't
I
know
guess
if
if I give it a rating, I give good enough to watch popcorn with,
Yeah.
but not good enough to write an essay on because there's nothing
There's no
that
context.
logical about it. So give it a yes popcorn, no essay rating.
There we
I
go.
guess. There we go. And I think that's all. So thank you for sticking around to the end. That's nice of you to watch this entire video. Good job. Go ahead and give it a like. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one, and leave some comments. I don't know about anything. What are your thoughts about this movie if you saw it, or if you want us to review other movies like Romeo and Juliet, which I hear from Ian is really good. So thank you for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.